Hey guys, welcome. So today I'm going to be talking about joining wood. And if you're anything like me, maybe you don't have a joiner. I do not. I chose planer instead of going with the joiner. A lot of people say start with the joiner instead of the planer. I just felt like the surfacing potential with definitely doing glue ups and things like that, and the ability to run that project through a planer just appealed to me a bit more. So how am I going to bring these two boards together? Is it cutting a straight edge just enough? Is this straight edge or the opposite straight edge here at the bottom enough to do that? So just shooting a quick video of how to make that work and why it works. So there's plenty of videos out there to talk about using a table saw and a level for making those straight edges, but what's the difference of using the straight edge here against the fence versus the straight edge on the board that I have? Just couldn't figure out why that helped anything versus just using the straight edge of the board. Why did adding the level to the edge of that project actually cause it to be straighter? So in this video, I'm going to show you why it makes the difference. I'm sure I'm not the only one that this didn't quite make sense with, but you know, just putting this board here up against the fence, this would be my flat edge to try and mirror onto this side just using the table saw, right? I can tell that this isn't a good flat edge, right? Just that part right there, I see that I got some give that's probably going to end up on this side of the board. But to really exaggerate it, I could take this side of the board and demonstrate how that shifts as you slide it out. See how the whole board moved out? To really demonstrate it, I rigged up a pencil in here, which of course I will take out before making the cut. So again, for over exaggeration, if I was attempting to put a straight edge on this side of the board, all right guys, so the pencil didn't quite go as perfect as I would like it, but just for reference point, down here is where that cut would have started. And down here, let me put that into view for you. So, looking at that, if the cut had started over here and ended over here, I have pencil mark way out here, so I would have ended up with a big old hoop on that board. All right guys, so for the purpose of this video, I did go ahead and tape them together. That's not required, that's just to ensure they stay together, but you certainly could. Otherwise, you could just hold these together as you push them through. The important part is that they move together, that this reference point stays attached to this reference point here. Okay, so that way you're mirroring this and not this. If you attempted to just slide this piece across this fence, you'd end up getting the same hoop. Unless the fence itself is longer, then that would be mirrored as well. But it would be mirrored to these two corners like it is now. So again, you definitely want a level that's longer than the project that you're attempting to cut. And so yeah, we'll get that first cut. And there you go. Nice straight cut on this side. And so now we can take that side here and that will be perfectly straight and mirrored to the other side. Finding that lowest point, which I believe is roughly there. All right, and there we go. You could also run this a few more times to make sure that you get that perfect edge. So now I'm going to mimic that all on this board as well. So it's not going to come out as perfect as a joiner would make it for you, but you know, unless you got the 600, 800, 500, something like that for a decent tabletop joiner, that's pretty good for getting lumber that you can work with. The other thing is these pieces aren't planed, so they're not exactly working for me top to bottom. This one's got a little bit of a hoop right there in the middle going up and down. But from what we started with, those beat up pieces of wood, pretty decent coming off a table saw. So again, using a level, it's got to be longer than the project that you're cutting, and it's got to actually move with the project. You can't just use it as the rail, because again, any movement you do on that piece of wood, if you push it at all, it's going to do the exact same thing. So it needs to stay fixed with that level. It's got to be a level that's longer than the project that you're attempting to cut down, the board that you're attempting to cut down. If you're trying to do really long pieces, hypothetically, you could potentially move the level, shut off the saw, move the level. I don't necessarily recommend that. Maybe start chop that project down and put it back together. But otherwise, using a metal level, so there's no give no flex when you're pressing against that table saw. If you use any fiberglass level or anything like that, a plastic, those could have some sort of flex. Metal, nice and rigid, and again, it's got to move perfectly with the project all the way through the table saw. You cannot just move the board across the table saw, because as you're pushing, you could potentially push against whatever unbalanced piece, just like you would with the table saw. You're just extending your fence at that point, and that's not actually doing what you're trying to do. But again, that's how it works. Another channel that I follow, he was doing 5 tips for joining wood if you don't actually have a joiner, and one of them being the level idea. And when he referred to the level and why it worked, he just said that it had magic sawdust. I thought that was pretty funny, but I wanted to dive into why it actually works, and I'm sure there's plenty of videos out there like this. So thanks for watching mine. If you like what I'm doing here, like and subscribe. I'm going to be planning to put a video out each week. If you got any ideas for future projects or videos, put them in the comments, see if I can work them in. But otherwise, just keep making sawdust.